We spend a lot of time trying to get to the bottom of things, whether dissecting a vague text message, agonizing over a career path, or piecing together breaking news. There is a relentless drive to strip away the noise and find the objective truth. But this constant demand to decode the world takes a toll. Treating every interaction and decision like a problem with a single correct answer forces the brain into overdrive, leaving us with a baseline state of chronic exhaustion. It's easy to fall into the trap of thinking that if you just gather enough data, read enough articles, or replay a conversation enough times in your head, you will eventually arrive at the absolute, unvarnished truth of the matter. And when that certainty inevitably slips away, when the text message remains ambiguous or the news remains chaotic, it feels like a personal failure. The inability to nail down the facts morphs into a quiet, persistent anxiety. We are stressing ourselves out over a flawed premise. All this panic stems from the unexamined assumption that objective reality is something a human brain is even capable of grasping in the first place. What if the reason you cannot figure out the real world has nothing to do with your intelligence or your attention span? What if knowing the objective truth is actually a strict biological impossibility? In the 18th century, philosopher Immanuel Kant proposed this. He realized that human beings are structurally incapable of experiencing the universe as it truly is. This realization, born hundreds of years before smartphones and the 24-hour news cycle, offers a surprisingly effective remedy for the exact brand of overthinking that defines the 21st century. Kant was building on the work of David Hume, who argued that all human thought is just the act of taking basic sensory inputs, things we see, hear, or feel, and rearranging them in our minds. Kant took this a step further. He argued that concepts like space, time, cause, and effect are not features of the external universe. Instead, they are mandatory filters built directly into the hardware of the human mind. The raw, chaotic data of the universe passes through these mental filters and is forced into a shape we can comprehend. Kant called this curated, translated output the phenomenal world. It is the processed simulation of reality that our brains generate, and it is the only version of existence we will ever actually experience. Take these historical sketches of Saturn. Early astronomers observed odd, shifting shapes and assumed the planet had literal handles attached to its sides. Kant pointed out that ascribing our subjective, limited perception to the objects themselves creates illusions. We confuse the glitch in our own perception with the actual object. Everything you see, touch, and agonize over is a product of this mental machinery. You are not interacting with the universe itself. You are interacting with your brain's highly curated simulation of it. Beyond that simulation lies what Kant called the noumenal world, or the thing in itself. This is the actual, objective reality, operating entirely independent of human observation. Because our minds strictly require the formatting rules of space and time to process any information, it is biologically impossible for us to turn those filters off and see what lies underneath. The consequence of this mental architecture is objective reality acts as an absolute void. It is a space we can never touch, see, or compute. Humanity is permanently locked out of base reality. The quest to find the absolute truth behind every event or interaction is a rigged game because we simply do not have the equipment to play it. Kant had a specific diagnosis for what happens when we try to force our minds past these limits. He called it the transcendental illusion. Human reason naturally hates boundaries. It stubbornly attempts to process the infinite, unknowable noumenal world using our limited, human-scale categories. We try to force concepts that belong to the realm of the absolute into the tiny intake valves of our daily perception. This mechanical mismatch guarantees failure. When the mind tries to process data it was never designed to handle, it generates paradoxes, self-contradictions, and total system overloads. This system crash manifests as the physical sensation of lying awake at 3 a.m., cycling through unanswerable questions as your heart races. You are attempting to calculate an objective truth that does not exist. Modern anxiety of this kind is not a psychological weakness or a flaw in your character. It is the inevitable mechanical failure of a brain trying to compute data it does not have the clearance to access. Facing the limits of human perception sounds terrifying at first, but it offers an immediate, visceral sense of peace. Because the base reality is structurally untouchable, you are officially absolved of the responsibility to figure it out. You can stop trying to solve the universe. The worst-case scenarios keeping you awake at night are not objective truths. They are just phenomenal projections, highly localized hallucinations built on a very limited set of data. Recognizing a problem as mathematically unsolvable is the fastest way to shut down the brain's panic response. The machine stops grinding when you realize there is nothing left to process. The cure for this exhaustion is a practice called epistemological humility, the conscious recognition of the boundaries of our own knowledge. Actively accepting the limits of human perception means you no longer have to carry the crushing weight of absolute certainty. You can navigate your relationships, your career, and your daily life using the tools you have, while being perfectly at peace with the vast fog of the unknown right in front of you. Recognizing that we inhabit a mental simulation provides a practical buffer against the noise of the modern world. It allows you to let go of the impossible pursuit of the absolute and simply exist within the reality you possess.